Good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, February 11th, 2020. Welcome to Hitting the Wall. I am your host, Kyle Walker. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. See, some people are already in the chat room, so I know that we're actually working. Life is grand. So, hey, I want to take a moment, thank Joe for coming in last week and helping to celebrate the town's huge accomplishment, the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. Super fun episode. I imagine that most people were busy last week, apparently because, I don't know, the State of the Union was on. Like, nobody watched us. You guys wanted to watch the State of the Union and be up on political events rather than watch Joe and I celebrate the Super Bowl? I don't understand. I am lost. So anyway, that's okay. You can catch it on the video tab if you care to watch last week's show. So thank you to Joe for joining us. Yes, as Joe pointed out right now in the chat room, if you take a look at my shirt, yes, the new shirts are available. So if you go to the website, hittingthewallpodcast.com, all one word, hittingthewallpodcast.com, click on the merch tab, and you can get yourself your very own shirt. So see, they're kind of cool looking, aren't they? Yeah. Now, I will say they go through Amazon. I feel like they run a little small. And they're unisex t-shirts. So just plan accordingly if you want to go out there and buy yourself one of these shirts. They just run a hair small. So you maybe go up a size or, whatever. You know your fashion. You do you. So that's something you can do. Go get the t-shirt. Anyone who posts on our Instagram page a picture of them wearing the t-shirt, I will find a prize for you because I would love to get our Instagram page a little more involved. That is where you can always be the first to see what we're doing on Muggin' Monday. And so, let's see. Oh, Mads, you should get an XL. Right. Yeah. I'm sure you've been bulking up in the softball off season. You scrawny, good-looking person, you. Can't stand it. Anyway, let's dive into tonight's episode as I see people are coming into the room, so let's get her going. I want to remind you of something, okay? Please remember that on this show, we paint with very broad strokes. The stuff I'm going to talk about tonight, I am not talking about a particular individual. I am talking about experiences of both mine and other people who have relayed theirs to me. Just remember, if something hits a little too close to home, that's kind of what we want. But no, I'm not talking about you. Just understand that we paint in broad strokes on this show. So tonight we're going to talk about happiness. Do you feel warm and fuzzy already? Yay, let's talk about happiness. It's all so warm and fuzzy. So what I want you to do, let's think back to the days where we were younger, okay? Let's think back to our younger days. And as kids, we were just happy little things, okay? We had our happiness playing with our toys. We had happiness watching cartoons. We were happy on Christmas morning. We were happy on summer break. As kids, I will argue that we were the happiest that we could possibly be in our lives. Would you guys agree? I'm sure you would agree. Okay, so things all started to change, though, once we get into the teenage years. And I know this because I have a teenager now. And wow, do things change. The hormones start to creep in. And, maybe parents start to get a little stricter. And life starts to get a little more demanding. And our sense of self-worth might get a little inflated because who doesn't have a teenager that has some kind of ego or attitude? And suddenly we found out that absolutely nothing made us happy. Okay, we were happy little kids. And now we get to the point where nothing makes us happy because we're moody teenagers, okay? But once those prepubescent hormones all wear off and maybe they finally start to simmer down just a little bit, again, just a little bit, we find ourselves maybe in high school, the later stages of high school, young adulthood, the early things like that. And so I know, people, they date in high school or they date right after it. And, because I know this because I married my high school sweetheart. But around that whole time, we decide that we are going to find someone that makes us happy. And if all goes well, they're going to make us happy for the rest of our lives. Okay, so we had our little kid happiness. We lost that happiness in the teenage years. But now we're adults, young adults, and we're going to find that person that makes us happy. So we start dating. Okay, we get all lovey-dovey. And then maybe we get engaged. And then for many of us, it's just such a happy time. And then we get married. And oh goodness, what is the line that everyone says when it comes to their wedding? Okay, it was the happiest day of my life. Okay, happiest day of your life, right? I'm sure many of you would agree with that. Those of you who maybe are still married or got married at one point in time, at least you said that on one day. But shortly after that, as the phrase goes, the honeymoon is over, okay? Life starts to creep back in, okay? And now suddenly we have more responsibilities, okay? We have our mortgage payments, we have the rent payment, your spouse's car just broke down, and so you have to get a new one, and now you have a car payment, and then the washer broke and it needs to be fixed, and then, you know, the walls in the house are ugly and maybe they need to get them painted. And it can take days, weeks, months, or years, but at some point in time, that person that you married on the happiest day of your life is maybe not making you so happy anymore. Fair enough? Fair enough. Again, broad strokes. So maybe you had a kid, maybe you had two, maybe you had three, whatever your case is. And maybe, you know, with that kid, maybe your spouse isn't exactly carrying the weight, okay? They're not carrying their weight in the parenting aspect, okay? And so maybe after a long day of work, your spouse wants to just come home and sit on the couch and maybe binge watch a little Netflix rather than going outside and pulling weeds, okay? Or maybe your spouse at 30 doesn't quite look like what they did at 18. It happens. I look nothing like I did at 18. So as you sit there and you're taking stock of your situation, you're saying to yourself, this person doesn't make me happy anymore. They gasp. So this happiness that the person was supposed to add to your life is gone. Okay, you are unhappy. You know, 9 times out of 10, people who are unhappy in their marriage, they just bottle that stuff up. Would you all say that's accurate? I'm sure a lot of people have bottled up their unhappiness in their marriage, okay, at least for a time, for a period. So you could go and seek counseling, but that's only effective if both of you decide to do it. And again, whether you're married or a relationship, counseling really only works if both people are involved. Again, my opinion. So you are unhappy, and in some circumstances, your unhappiness leads you down bad roads, okay? Maybe you confide in someone who decides to use your feelings against you. You know, you want to be happy, okay? And you've expressed to them that you are unhappy. So this person will tell you just how happy maybe they can make you, or just how happy you'd be without that spouse in the picture, okay? That little silver-tongued, sweet-talking devil that you shouldn't be talking to in the first place, but you are. So they'll sit there and, you know, they'll bash on your spouse in front of you, and, you know, they'll use your unhappiness in your situation to kind of prop themselves up. You know, all the things. Oh, well, I wouldn't do this, or I wouldn't do that. And it can just be a friend. It could be a coworker, or a lot of times people go back to previous love interests. You know, go back to an ex, and it's that ex that ends up doing a lot of the damage. Whatever. And whoever they are, they will assure you that your problems can be solved, most likely by them. Okay. So for the sake of this show, we'll skip ahead. Okay. So whether you are the one looking for happiness in the arms of another, or you were the one who was completely oblivious to the happiness of your spouse or relationship partner, okay, long story short, the situation that was supposed to be the happiest day of your life is now nothing but an excruciatingly painful memory of what could have been. As we move on. So at this point, again, we fast forwarded, we moved ahead, I understand that. The thought of being happy is as real to you as Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. Happiness is a distant dream, right? Okay, it is at this point that you turn to things that maybe will make you think that they'll make you happy. Okay, so maybe if I, let's see, that retail therapy. So maybe if I take my credit card and I go out there and I completely max it out and I buy all the shit that I don't really need, that's going to make me happy, right? Or maybe if I send my ex this text or this email, maybe if I rail on them or damage what they've done to my happiness, I could maybe ruin theirs, or, maybe I could try and get them back, whatever your situation is. Maybe if I hook up with this random person at the bar, maybe add a few notches to the old lipstick case or to the old bedpost, maybe that's what's going to make me happy. Again, all conversations that we've absolutely had when we are searching to find our own happiness. And it isn't a question of if, but it's more of when. Okay, when is it that you're going to turn to places that you probably shouldn't go? Okay, And you're going to tell yourself these things. This is exactly what you're going to tell yourself. Right here in the right order of operations. All right, well, I've given up on happiness. I can't find someone that makes me happy. But maybe if I start, start drinking a little bit, maybe if I start turning to alcohol, it's just, I won't feel so sad. Okay, yeah, this seems reasonable. Take a little drinky, a little numb, no worries. Okay, well, I drank a lot. I'm certainly not happy. Now I am very sad. How much more of this will I need to drink before I just feel nothing at all? And then you continue down that road. Okay, and then we get to the last one. Well, I feel nothing at all. I'm not happy. I'm not sad. I'm now destroying my mind. I'm destroying my body with my newfound coping mechanism. This coping has cost me friendships and relationships, my overall health, and now I'm a danger to myself and others, all in the name of happiness that I can never obtain. So think of the people that you maybe lost in your lives along the process. And I don't mean maybe death, although that certainly can be a factor. Think of the lives ruined by people because they couldn't cope in a healthy manner with just not being happy. Right? Think about that for a second. Think about the people you know who, in the name of trying to make themselves happy, have completely ruined themselves or their situation. I bet you can come up with a few. And here's the kicker. And I know we're coming all the way back around full circle here. The kicker is, it doesn't end there. You cannot find the solution to this happiness problem without, you can't find the solution without knowing the problem, right? So we cannot solve the issue of happiness without knowing the cause. And this is what we're going to do. So go back to the start of what I said. Go back to the problem originated all the way back at the start of tonight's show. Okay, the start was the disease. Everything I've said was a symptom of this disease. And what is the disease, you might ask? Your happiness. You cannot put your happiness on to somebody else. And that is the big piece of tonight's show. Your happiness is your responsibility. You cannot take your happiness and put it on someone else. Your marriage that was the happiest day of your life, okay, you're taking this and saying, okay, well, I'm married to you. Now you carry this. You carry my happiness, my eternal happiness, whatever you want to call it. You're putting that responsibility on somebody else. And I can say now, okay, I can say after a decade of reflection, and it's taken me about that long to come to this conclusion. So the day the ending of my marriage took 4 or 5 days. Okay, there was this 4 or 5 day stretch of basically sheer agony. And right at the end of it, I will never forget one thing that my ex-wife said to me. She said to me, and I quote, "You don't make me happy anymore." Okay, and so after a decade of reflection, here's what I've come up with. Screw you. Your happiness was never my responsibility. That is not something that you can just saddle on someone. It was never my job. It is not my job to make you happy. It is not your job to make someone happy. And I know some of you are sitting there shocked. Oh, yes, it is. No, it's not. Let's continue on here. Okay. You can't put your happiness on the shoulders of somebody else. Okay. That is too big of a burden to carry. Now, I don't know one person who would not crumble under that weight. Okay. Who wouldn't crumble under the weight of being responsible for someone's happiness in their life? Okay. And I know what you're saying, but Kyle, you old jaded jerk, you have to marry someone who makes you happy. No, that is wrong. Again, my opinion. Okay. Don't marry someone because they'll make you happy. If you do that, you're doomed. Here's what you have to do. You are responsible for your own happiness, right? Okay. And so I'll say the same thing I did on an episode way back when I did it on Finding Your Passion. If painting makes you happy, then paint. If podcasting makes you happy, then podcast. If video gaming makes you happy, game. If running makes you happy, run. If cooking makes you happy, cook. Gardening, binge watching, parenting, nannying, adopting, serving, praising, singing, skipping, hopping, jumping, do it. Okay. Don't put your happiness on someone else when you already know the things that make you happy. If your happiness is fishing, then why are you going to marry someone who hates fishing? Do not marry someone to be their happiness. Marry someone that will enhance your happiness. Okay, share your passions, share your experiences, share what makes you happy. And again, remember, broad strokes here. I'm not telling you to blow up your situation just because one of you likes something the other doesn't. compromises, of course, is part of a relationship. But I don't feel like you can put the weight of your happiness on someone else. You need to find someone who can take what already makes you happy and enhance it. Make the situation better. If there's something that you love to do, find someone who loves that you do it. And again, I know most of the people watching right now are probably married, and that's super great, and good job out of you guys. But let's really think about it here, and I bet a lot of you would answer yes. Does your spouse take what you love and make you love it even more? And if they don't, conversations need to be had. Okay. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to prop myself up as like I was the best husband on God's green earth. I've been divorced 10 years. Clearly, I had my faults. Something that I do pride myself on is all the things that my then wife loved to do, playing violin being one of them, I encouraged her to do at all times. If you are happy playing the violin, then by God, you play that violin. I will sit here and listen to you, and I will revel in the fact that you have a musical ability that I sure as heck do not. And again, that was something that I did because I think that if that made her happy, then I wanted her to do it. I want to enhance someone's happiness. You should need to want to enhance someone's happiness, but in turn, they need to enhance yours and support you in the things that you want to do that make you happy. Because ultimately, there is nobody who is responsible for my happiness. That is all on me. And if I'm doing things that are not making me happy, then what the hell am I doing? And why am I doing it? It would be a terrible mistake and a waste of my time to do things that don't make me happy. And that's the thing. Now, look, you have to live life. You have to adult. I'm not saying I'm sitting here, I'm paying bills and I'm thrilled. No, stop it. I know you guys can split hairs with the best of them. I know most of you people, you can do it. So can I. But I'm just saying, find what makes you happy, and then find the person who enhances that happiness. That's the long and short of it. So just be real careful about pinning your happiness and your hopes of happiness onto somebody else. You are responsible for yours, and no one else can shoulder that burden. Okay, fair enough. That is my spiel for tonight. I know I tore through it pretty quick, but again, how long can I stretch that out? It'd like get repetitive after that. So I would love to know what you guys think, because if you agree with me, super duper. If you don't, I'd love to hear. Again, this is my opinion. I've been wrong before, once or twice. So if you have a differing opinion, send me a message, put it in the chat room. There's a lot of you in there right now. So, say, hey, yes, I agree. Oh, wait, here's one right here. What if your happiness is just burning the bridges and going on with your life? Well, burn bridges and go on with your life. I don't know. Burning bridges, risky, but hey, you do what makes you happy. Again, within the law. Let's go with that. So I'm checking the chat room real quick here. Most people are just listening to me ramble, which is fine. I appreciate that. So again, next week, if you didn't catch the news last week, next week I will not be on the show. Joe is going to do next week's episode from wherever he decides to do it from. I know that they're still working some stuff out there, but I am on vacation next week. I am going to be off doing my thing. So you guys tune in. It should be normal time, and Joe is going to have an episode for you all queued up and ready to go. Please go to the website, hittingthewallpodcast.com, completely redone, completely revamped. It looks great. I love the new look of the website. You can buy a t-shirt if you'd like. And again, I would love to see you post on our Instagram page of you wearing the t-shirt wherever you may roam. That would be super cool. And then I don't harp on this much, but I'm gonna tonight, because I know we've been all excited with the Chief stuff and all that super cool fun things. But remember, this show forever and always needs your supports. And you can like the show, you can share the show, or share the show page on Facebook. Like, comment, share. Those are the biggest things. And if you're at the website, you might as well just click on the link to the Patreon page and throw a little donation our way. Because again, our $17 a month that we make is barely keeping this thing afloat. So I would appreciate, if at all possible, a little help. You can just set up this little monthly withdrawal, $2, $3, $5. You'll never miss it. It's less than a coffee at Starbucks, and it helps this show out immensely. Because once once we cover the cost of doing the show, which again, we're barely doing, then we can start to expand if more money, if more money is donated. That's it. I'm not trying to buy a yacht. Yeah, right. I'm just trying to maybe build the show up. So if you like it, support it, share it. Ta-da. We're going to go from there. So that is what we're going to do. Again, I appreciate you guys joining me as always. I know, again, super quick episode tonight, but I had my point. I wanted to make it. There it is. And we're finally not talking football after like a month. So I hope you enjoyed it. Again, Joe is on next week. Don't do anything stupid while I'm gone. Not that you would. I have the most well-behaved fans in all the world. So anyway, all right, let's get out of here. Don't text and drive. Be nice to each other. Everyone have a great week. I will see you in 2 weeks after I get back from vacation. Joe has got you next week. Have a good night, everybody.
Did you know that you could talk to Kyle when he records his shows? Tune in to the live recordings of Hitting the Wall on Facebook Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central Time and say hi.